Now, let's go over the entire Adaptability Fund application and submission process. I'll go through each of the fields on the application form, which is available online, and don't worry, we'll give you the website at the end of the webinar. This is a 30,000-foot view of the application. Note that there's a red asterisk next to the required cells. You will not be able to press submit at the end until all required fields are populated. The cells that do not have a red asterisk are not mandatory, but could be helpful in the review process, so we encourage you to populate those fields as well. Let's step through the application. The first thing you'll need to do is to enter the registered name of your business. This should match with the name on record with the DCCA. The next cell is where you would identify your business status, whether you're a sole proprietor, limited liability corporation, C Corp, S Corp, etc. The checkbox below Certificate of Good Standing is what you would check to certify that you have a valid Certificate of Good Standing with the DCCA. Checking yes here is a requirement for getting an adaptability grant, and you will be required to attach a valid one to this application. It must be dated after June 30th, 2020. Your FEIN is your tax ID. If you're a sole proprietor, it would be your Social Security number, or if you're a corporation, it would be your federal tax ID. This should match with what you submit to the IRS. GE license number is your general excise tax identifier from the state of Hawaii and typically begins with GE and is followed by 12 digits. You can find this on your most recent GE tax filing, which is another required attachment that you'll submit along with this application. Location of project is not a required field, but if it will help add clarity to where the project is being executed, then provide the details here. Mailing address is pretty self-explanatory. Please fill in your street, city, and zip code. You should have a Maui County mailing address, and most likely this address will match the address on the bank records that you submit. Again, if the business is not located in Maui County, your business is not eligible. Company representative is typically the owner or CEO or president of the business. You would identify the company representative name, their contact email address, and phone number in the next few boxes. These are all required fields. If the appropriate point of contact is different than the owner, then that's what the next few boxes are for. As an example, if the company owner had a general manager or executive who would be a more suitable point of contact for questions regarding the proposed project, here is where you would indicate that. We want to make sure to be working with the right company representative. Enter the contact's person name and title, email, and phone number. A side note is that if you leave the contact person field blank, the other two boxes on this screen do not appear. Company website address is where you would put your company website URL if you have one. You should also indicate your presence on social media. Adding links might be helpful to the review committee. Neither of these fields are mandatory, but anything you can add to assist the review committee is encouraged. You need to indicate the nature of your business. In this example, I used fine dining. Number of employees is where you would put the number of full-time positions in your business. Typically, a person who works a 40-hour week equates to one position. Two part-time positions who each work 20 hours per week also equals one full-time position, and so on. You will need to enter your 2019 gross revenue as well as your 2020 gross revenue year to date. As you can see in this example, one would typically expect a significant decline in 2020 revenues as proof of the need for grant assistance. The purpose of grant request and proposed use of funds narrative is one of the most important areas to pay attention to and to complete as accurately and thoughtfully as possible. How are you going to use this grant? What are you going to do with the funding to best enable you to retool your business in order to survive? In this example, a restaurant has experienced a significant decline in revenue because they were forced to remove tables, which decreased their revenue significantly. Their solution is to build dividers on the interior of the restaurant to separate interior diners safely, and to build an outdoor seating area with additional tables to bring seating capacity up to pre-COVID levels. They also propose to update their website to accept online ordering, which will streamline their operations. We'll cover the budget worksheet a bit later in this webinar, but what's important to understand is that this section should tie very closely to the budget worksheet. This area is the narrative of what you hope to accomplish. The budget worksheet adds in the cost of doing the proposed work. The two should tie together very closely. Expected project impact is also very important. In this example, I address how it would benefit the restaurant, which is to bring the number of available tables back up to their pre-COVID levels in accordance with social distancing guidelines. But I also address the economic impact to Maui County. Because the restaurant can now accommodate the same number of diners as before, they can rehire the staff who were laid off, which is a direct benefit to Maui County. In addition, they hope to grow the business through online orders, which would require hiring additional staff, again, a direct benefit to Maui's economy. Don't forget to show how the project mitigates the effect of the COVID-19 pandemic, which I did at the bottom. It should be noted that my examples in the last two fields are very brief and simplistic, mainly because it needed to fit on the page for this presentation. There's plenty of space, and you should provide as much detail as possible to help the review team understand exactly what you're trying to do and the impact that it has on the business as well as Maui's economy. You must indicate what other funding you have received from federal, state, county, or other sources relating to COVID-19 mitigation. If you've received none, indicate none or put NA as it is a required field. You will need to upload the required attachments in PDF form. The system will not accept spreadsheets, Word documents, or any other format. You need to attach the Certificate of Good Standing dated June 1st, 2020 or later, the last 3 months of business bank statements, the most recent GET tax filing, your most current balance sheet and profit and loss statement dated after June 30th, 2020, and the budget template that we will cover shortly. Schedule F is profit and loss from farming, so if your proposal is farm related, make sure to include your 2019 Schedule F. Note that the system is limited to 10 attachments, so manage them wisely, perhaps combining the 3 bank statements or other related documents together. You might want to just combine all of the PDFs into one form, but be mindful of the 30 megabyte file size limitation. There's an additional requirement that we'll mention in this webinar, and that is self-certifications. However, that submission only happens after the grant is approved. You can browse through your computer or attach files by simply dragging and dropping them into the box provided. Please certify that you used the provided budget template to create the detailed proposed project budget. Please also certify that all of the attachments are in PDF format. You can easily save the budget template as a PDF by using the print function to print the Excel file as a PDF. Lastly, you'll need to type your name to certify that all information provided is true and correct. That's it. Click the Submit button.